Welcome, everybody, to our People Talking from a Social Distance podcast. Today, I have lifetime Sycamore resident, heart of the building, and SEA Vice President Andy Jordan with me. And we're going to talk a little bit about some different things and just sort of be social from a distance. So, Andy.
Hey, Greg, how's it going?
As well as it could go, right?
Hey, it's better than nothing.
I agree. So we've got some different questions we're going to go through and just sort of start a conversation as a way to try to remain together as a community as we're all exiled from the building. So I wanted to start with just a nice basic one, which is if you had to pick another word to describe yourself outside of teacher, if you had another label you wanted to apply to yourself, what would it be?
That's a good question. Maybe a history nerd or dork. I do love, that's something I get to do in my career is learn about something I'm passionate about and teach it as well. I think a coach is another term for a teacher. I used to coach football, basketball, but we're kind of trying to coach skills, but also be life coaches in a little way for these young adults as well. So sort of a history dork / coach, I guess you could put on my resume as well.
I like that. I too am a fan of history, not to the degree that you guys in the history department are. I get not trying to get too political, but do you see the stuff going on around us in the last couple of years? Is that a positive thing or a negative thing for a history teacher? Like
I'll spin it positive. That's how I like to look at things glass half full. Students are more engaged politically than they've ever been in my 12 years teaching, and way more than I probably was at their age because it's so obsequious that it's everywhere. You can't avoid politics, especially during the Trump presidency. Love him or hate him, he's really good at reaching the people and getting and using Twitter and social media and getting his voice out there. He speaks in the sort of the vernacular of the student too, and he uses terms and kind of a style that appeals to them. So it gets them engaged and at least a little bit more informed, perhaps, or maybe less informed. Who knows on politics? But one way or the other, they seem much more interested. Current events and discussions have been way better in the last few years, I've noticed, than they were before.
That's got to be exciting. I know another part of the history nerd, and we've talked a little bit about it before, is traveling. And I know obviously right now travel's pretty much impossible, but are there any places you're either looking forward to or that you had in mind that you were going to travel to soon, knowing how much you enjoy that?
Yeah, that is one of my passions, and I teach world cultures, so I always say it's part of my job. I have to go travel outside and do some exploring of the world. So, I got married this summer, and it was my hope to go to my wife's paternal ancestors' homeland in Italy. So I would love to go to Italy and travel the Amalfi Coast and go to a number of the cities there. I'd love to go anywhere on Earth, really. I'd love to experience that. But I think Europe's sort of an accessible place to start with. I've been to Mexico and Spain and the UK and Ireland, and I've really enjoyed all those trips. I think that's the best way to use your time and money if you have the opportunity.
Awesome. Obviously, I would always be for going to Italy. I was actually supposed to go. My father is from Italy, and he was going back to the ancestral home, like literally San Vittorino, like the 10 huts on the side of the mountain that he was born in. And so he was like, "You should come with me." And I was like, "Yeah, when are you going?" He's like, "May." And I'm like, "I can't do May." And he's like, "Why not?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Teacher, Dad, like 9 years now."
Yeah, it's kind of an important time to finish the school year up. I wouldn't mind going back to Ireland with my parents. They've never left the country, except my dad was born in Frankfurt, Germany, during the Allied occupation. So I guess he was born outside the U.S., but he's had so much trouble getting a passport, and they finally got it through the State Department in the last year. So I think I'd love to take him there, as he's 86% Irish according to Ancestry, and I'm over 50%. So I think that'd be a great opportunity to travel with my parents too, and be a little bit of an ambassador and a guide for them as much as I could be.
That's awesome. I guess the other thing you talked about was coaching, and I know you no longer coach sports, but are you looking? Are there other aspects of coaching that you're interested in, or that you're still trying to sort of use those same skill sets outside of teaching, obviously?
Yeah, I mean that's something I really respect all the people who are coaches, club advisors who do the music's performing arts because it's a obviously a passion of almost everyone involved in that, but it's such a huge commitment and so important to the students. When I was in high school, I played football, basketball, baseball, and that was my life. So I know that's something that students are passionate about. I do miss making those personal connections. So I'm still working, I think, on that in my classroom. But also, I still do history club and student council and pep club too. But yeah, I think having those kind of connections with the students outside of the required classes and school day is something that helps build better relationships. And even the kids I coached in football for a couple of years, I have in government class now. I feel like I have a better connection with them and are able to kind of talk real with them a little bit more sometimes if they're struggling or need a little bit of a coaching up, to say the least.
Yeah, I think all of us in the Teal hallway were bummed when students didn't come back because we were looking forward to Coach Jordan making an appearance in the hallways.
Yeah, yeah. I've been telling some colleagues that I'm usually very nice, very cheerful, spin everything positive, like I said. But the old football coach can come out if I see some masks being used as chin diapers and see some nostrils out there. I'm already prepared for it November 30th if need be. But I assume the students will be taking it seriously, and I won't need to pull out Coach Jordan's voice and tone.
I would hope so as well.
Mhm.
So I guess we kind of talked about things you're passionate about. Are there any other passions aside from your travel, coaching, and being a lifelong learner that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, travel is a big one. Like you said, life. That's something I really enjoy about being an educator. Is you don't get to just shut your brain off. I'm always needing to be more informed, especially teaching government and civics about current events. I really enjoy that. Outside of school day, though, I used to love going to concerts and performances. That's been kind of difficult with the pandemic. But yeah, that's something I always like to have something to look forward to on the calendar for me and my wife or me and my friends to do. So when things get better, perhaps some concerts, some live performances, some comedy shows. That's something I'm passionate about too. I also like to run. I'm a runner, and always that's a way I think I always get my mind sort of at ease as well as my kind of my physical mental. The combination there has always been something I've enjoyed.
I think that's a really cool idea. And I know with the wellness committees, we've been talking about different ways that people de-stress. We do the Take Tens on Tuesdays. We did Gator Golf a couple weeks ago, right? Like, I think there's something really interesting with that in terms of using running as a sort of meditation of sorts. I shared that I use writing in that way. Was that something that you came to consciously, or was it just something that you just sort of realized?
I actually hated running until probably my senior year of college, first year teaching. I was getting a little heavier. The freshman 15 didn't really hit, but the 4 years of accumulation of enjoying myself in college led to my dad was always a runner, and he always encouraged me to do that. And it started off at 1 mile, then it took about a year to just do that, and then three, and then by the time probably a couple years in, you do get that runner's high. It's a sort of euphoric feeling, and I always sleep better. I feel more calm, less stressed after I run. Or a day, I always can tell a day that I ran versus not. To be completely honest, right now I am currently positive with COVID-19, and I haven't ran in 9 days. Not that I'm counting or anything. And I notice it. Obviously physically, it's probably not the best thing to do right now, but I love being outside, if it's freezing. I actually like running in the snow and putting on like the spikes and everything. And I think it's kind of a piece. It's a time you can be outside and kind of contemplative, like you mentioned. It's good to sort of get to find whatever that kind of inner peace is that we're all searching for.
Nice. Yeah, I too am a fan of. I don't run because knees, right? But walking in the snow is my favorite. Everyone else is
Mhm.
inside. It's like the silence that snow brings to a surrounding is just something about it.
Yeah, I agree. It's sort of I'm a glutton for punishment too. I kind of like it. I like going uphill into the wind. It reminds me, I think of training to get over obstacles, whether I was in sports or football or anything in life. I do embrace a challenge. So I think we don't get to challenge ourselves enough. I remember I had Jason Kavanaugh, the math teacher here, as a baseball coach, and I always remember one of the things he said is you always, one thing you'll miss about high school sports is the competition. And it's hard to recreate competition And that's one of the reasons I like running. You know, I do the pumpkin run. That's about the only competitive run I do each year. But it's a competition versus yourself. You know, it's a challenge and seeing if you can do a better pace or PR or just something to give yourself a goal and to be, setting goals on small personal levels.
I think we're similar in that, in the glutton for punishment. That's why I play golf, right?
Yeah.
Basic
Oof.
premise.
I meant to pick up golf this summer, perfect summer for it, and I avoided it. I'm maybe next summer. That'll be the next hurdle I have to get over.
Well, you let me know. I'm out on Sycamore pretty often, so. But the next question we had was, what would be something that you could tell us that we wouldn't believe you if you didn't tell us it was true?
You know, like I mentioned, I like to run, and I'm a healthy person. Yet I have very childish, immature eating habits at times, and I am disgusted by salad. I hate I hate lettuce. I don't know why. It's bland. It's like crunchy water. There's something that must have happened in my like infancy that that scarred me for life. But you know, at a wedding, if they give you like a side, I'm the embarrassing person who's like pushes it around and hopes nobody notices. I don't know why I can't eat salad. It's just I wish I did. It's healthy for you. It's great. There's just something mentally, the smell of the dressing, it all mixed together. I don't know why. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
That is an amazing answer. I love salad, big fan, and I would not have. I would never have thought you weren't a salad eater.
I know. I wish it's one of my goals in life that I'm not working very hard towards. But
yeah. Golfing and eating salad. We're making a list for you.
I'll take it.
All right. Next thing we want to talk about, desert island picks. So you know the basic setup of a desert island, right? You can only bring one thing with you, whether it's a book, a movie, an album. What's the thing, the very thing that you would need to have if you were going to be on a desert island and not go crazy?
You know, this is I kind of regret saying this. My iPhone. I'm addicted to my phone, I think, and my wife and I joke about that. We were like looking at each other like, what are we doing? But I don't know. It's a great piece of technology in history. It's got everything on there. And you know what? It would die after a day or so, and it'd serve me right. A tangible book would be a much better option, obviously, and practical. You know, I'm trying to think of an actual book I would bring. I'm kind of a dork too. I would probably bring like an AP World History textbook or something. And I don't teach world history, but like this summer, I read 2 AP US history because I started teaching AP US. I just read the books. I actually enjoyed it, and it's not like narrative. There's no just information, graphs, pictures. I'm a dork. I like teaching that stuff. And it's long. And it's big and heavy too. So I could probably kill some prey with it. So maybe an 8-push 1,000-page book or something like that.
Fantastic. Yeah. That'll definitely work.
Yeah.
Our last one we had for you was just a basic question, and I do appreciate you being here. Obviously, all the stuff you do in the building and with SEA is definitely something that we all appreciate. But taking some time out to do this little podcast, it's really I really thank you a lot. So do you want to talk about a funniest or worst teaching moment? Show us a skill. Tell us a joke. What do you got for us?
Okay. Well, I shared this a few years ago when my father retired. My dad, Joe Jordan, taught here for 30 plus years, driver's ed teacher, coached 3 sports for I think all 30 plus years. And when I got hired, I was 21 years old, and I started teaching when I was 22. I think it was my first week or two teaching. I was in the yellow hallway, one of the old special ed rooms, no AC, very hot. And I was dressed to the nines every day, shirt and tie for, I think, till I was tenured. And I had a closet that I would usually go into at least once or twice a day in the summer and like try to put on some deodorant because I was just drenched. So I remember during my lunch, I went to put on a fresh coat of Old Spice, and I shut the door and I went to get out, and I realized this was a timeout room closet. And I had no idea about there's no handle. So I was locked into my closet, and already the reception's bad in that hall. And I had like 10 minutes before my next class was arriving. That door was locked. So I called my father, who was driving with a student back from, I think, Target at the time period. And he ended up opening my door, unlocking the closet, like right when the lunch bell rang and the kids were coming to my room. So I'm thankful for my father being here and for nepotism and all of that stuff, as well as for him helping me escape from dying in that closet there. So I think too, there's a few other stories that come to mind, but I think one thing I always try to remind myself is, as a teacher, we always take ourselves pretty seriously. Um, and it's a good thing to take our job seriously, but I think when you can actually loosen up and real and kind of laugh at yourself, and even the students, nothing's better than getting accurately roasted by a student and acknowledging it. I think that it kind of takes the teeth out of it instead of fighting back against it. So yeah, the other thing that comes to mind is, I used to attend Lollapalooza every summer for many of my early to mid late 20s, and there was a picture that surfaced of myself shirtless flexing at Lollapalooza, and it got on MTV2 somehow. And my students found that. And if you Google me, it's unfortunately like the first hit that comes up on the Google Images. I guess I was in good shape at the time, so that works out. But besides that, I was mocked by my honors world culture students in every project. It became like a game where they would try to sneak a picture or like a star wipe across, and at first I got upset about it. Then I realized it was pretty funny, and I said it's a good learning lesson of our digital footprint, to say the least, and that things could come back to haunt us. So, like I said, don't take ourselves too seriously. So.
Those are both awesome stories, and like I said before we ended, I appreciate you for being here. Thanks for talking at a social distance with me, and enjoy.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. You're a great neighbor in the teal hallway.
Oh, geez, thank you.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you.
See you, Greg.